We're done with green today. Well, almost. After a hydro service, changing the filter, cleaning the screen, and refilling with John Deere High Guard,
maybe we ain't got enough
then we're done.
here. Okay.
Time to get one of my oldest tools. The Ugga 1000. Now that we got the Ugga 1000 here, we're going to go ahead and we got the air to it, so let's go ahead and see if we can break these lugs free. Oh yeah. No problem for that. There's a drain plug down here for the hydraulics system. This is a 13 millimeter. Okay, I've loosened up the cap, the filler cap, so hopefully this doesn't go glug glug and make a mess. Again, by pushing up as you unscrew, you can direct your flow. And make sure you remember to vent your oil pan. And it looks like we're getting to the very end here. Good. And was able to do it with one oil pan. Okay, we'll go ahead and just let that drain. So here's the drain plug. You see we're dripping. I'm going to go ahead and put the drain plug back in and snug it down. Okay, with that done, find my ratchet again. I'm just going to give it a little snug down. We'll come back and check that with a torque wrench. Okay, I've already got the filter loosened up, and boy was it a bugger. Unfortunately, I had to resort to this tool, which would actually be okay if not for being so tight, if it could actually fit in this corner. So I had to use it kind of sideways, but I'm very grateful that it worked. The tool we had bought for this project, this one, is a total dud. It did nothing but slip and was hard to work with. Piece of junk. So now we're loose enough that I can get this with my hand, I hope. Yep, it's going. And as long as the pan's in the right place, I'm not real worried about the oil that spills out. Seems like we're doing pretty good here. And of course we'll clean the mating surface here. So like there's flashing, paint flashing, probably from the process of painting it back at the factory. I'll make sure everything is clean in this area here. And that'll be before we put the other filter back on, because we don't want any of that getting into our system. Alright, so what we have here is your PTO shield, and it is movable, which is great, because when you have to take this cover off and hook a PTO shaft up, it's really hard to work in here. So, and pull hard because it's new, and then you get that out of your way. And what we're going after here is this hose. There's a magnetic filter that runs across the bottom of this tank here. So we want to take this off, already turned, so that I can get a hold of them here with a pair of pliers, and then also the other side I turned because they weren't in the correct position, and that wouldn't have made for good video. But just be aware, they can be in any direction when you start to do a project like this, and you do want to get them so that they're the easiest for you to get to. So we'll take our pliers, make them wider. These are pretty good size. We're going to squeeze the clamp and just raise it up here, out of the way. There, now that one's out of the way. We're going to get this bottom clamp off, and it's the reason I took the rear wheel off. It's just so much easier this way. Everybody has their own theory on how to do it. Okay, both of those are off. So to get this off, this is tough. This is a hard plastic or rubber tube here, and it's very short. And one of you viewers reached out in the comments and said I should use a heat gun to soften the line. Anyway, I believe he's right. So I'm going to use my heat gun. I'm going to warm this up a little bit and see if it moves for me a whole lot easier. So this is a 6mm bolt, socket head bolt. I had already broken it loose. It wasn't too bad. 3/8. But this is what holds this in here, so it's very crucial that you don't damage this bolt. Okay, here's hoping that's pliable enough to get it to move. And I can already hear the oil, so I'm hoping this is enough of a catch can. I didn't get video footage of it, but the heat gun did help soften that hose up and make it much easier to work with. Clean this up. Clean this hose up. See what I mean about this hose? It's quite short and stout at that size. But we got it off. A minimum of spillage. Let's pull out this filter and look at all the metal shavings there are to behold. And that's at 105 hours. That's what the magnet caught so far. So it is a good time to clean out your filter. So here's the filter. This drains your hydraulics. And there are a lot of sharp shavings in there. Okay, so I was able to get the magnet partially out of here, and I did that by just slapping this in my hand and leaning down, and each time it would move from one side to the other, it would creep a little closer to the edge till I finally was able to grab it. So So we'll get this nice and clean like brand new again. And we're going to set that there because that is fragile. Yeah. So now I'm going to clean this out with a little bit of brake parts cleaner. I'm wearing safety glasses, and that's a good idea because brake clean seems to have an attraction with my eyes. Okay, we got this nice and clean now. Go ahead and just spray this out a little bit. Okay, time to find a small magnet and clean out what metal's left in that hole. So I got this magnet here. We're going to reach in and just see what else there's maybe left behind. Big chunks. If there's not much, then we won't worry about it. Or just a tiny bit in there. Alright, so here's the magnet. We're going to put that back inside. I think about as far as I can get it is about the center of the tube. I imagine that the flow going through here makes that magnet push back to this end. That's why when we took it out, that's where we found it at. Alright, we'll get the tube back in. Get the O-ring between the 90 and the tube locked on each other. Start this screw. Okay, now I should be able to slide this down easy enough. I don't know if we can grab that with our channel locks to give us a little bite to move it or not. Oh yeah, guess I should have done that in the first place. There we go. And let's go ahead and put this screw in now. And all that's left to do then on this section is the... Alright, we got a 3/8 ratchet, 3/8 extension on this 6mm screw here. I don't know what the torque rating for that is going to be either. So with that section is done. Now we'll move up to the clamp in the back. Okay, right about there's where that's got to go. Well, the book says fill this a third to half full. And because it's mounted horizontally, it can leak, so we don't want to put too much in there. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mark out the hours on it and the date. So 105 hours and March of 2024. Now that we have the filter marked properly, we'll go ahead and put a little bit of hydraulic oil in and try not to make a mess as in past times. Get some clean oil on the gasket, make it easier to tighten up the filter. And this is horizontal on the tractor, so we don't want to put much in at all because we know that it's just going to leak out when we go to install it. Hopefully you can have a good view. Okay, now that the gasket is touched, we're going to go probably, well, I thought we'd only go 3/4 of a turn, but it seems to be going a little farther. So I think right there. Okay, we're not even touching the dipstick yet, but with that said, we bought this 1 quart to finish off the fill up. reach back in here, grab the dipstick out. It looks like we could use another quart. Yeah, we're about a quart low, it looks like. Okay. Well. Okay, now I've gone ahead and tightened all the bolts, ran the engine, checked for leaks. Everything looks good, so I'm putting the back tire back on it. I was wrong. These are loaded. So I'm gonna try to get it up on here. All right, we're just going to use the impact to thread these in. Okay. Okay, John Deere says the rear lugs will be torqued to 70 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and crank this up to 70. Foot-pounds. We'll lock it in. We've already got it on the ground. And the click tells you you've hit your pre-measured amount. And then we're going to go over and just do the other side real quick too. Even though I hadn't had the wheels off, there we go on that. Then you always, before you store your torque wrench, you always want to release all tension off of it. Well, now that we're finished up with the hydraulic system, I'm going to go ahead and just take a scoop of dirt out of a pile here that I got at the house and just see if everything's running okay. It looks like we're just a tad bit low, like a quart low on hydraulic fluid, so I'll just make sure that there's no air in the system, that when we return the tractor to Ken, all I got to do is add that quart to it, but everything else is running and working okay. So let's just grab a scoop of dirt and enjoy some loader action. the trusty torque wrench again. We're going to take care of the front wheels even though we didn't have a reason to remove them. We're just going to check the bolts. The manual suggests that, and it is a good idea from new to check the bolts. There's 70 foot-pounds of torque on a 19 millimeter bolt. And it's a good thing I'm checking them. I had 3 loose bolts on this side. And only one was loose on this side. So as we can see, the front tires are low. So I'll go ahead and pump those up. I believe the book was saying 22 PSI in each tire. You can see that they're low, and the problem that creates is it could cause you to actually tip over the tractor with a heavy load on the loader. So we're at 10 pounds, we should be at 20, well actually I think we're at 12 pounds. 12 pounds, we should be at 22. There we are at 22 exactly on the right front. So it's a good thing I'm down here doing this tire pressure, because I happened to notice something that in all the other work I've done on the tractor I hadn't noticed yet. This drive shaft boot is free and the clamp's just hanging there. So I'm going to need to put that back on and tighten the clamp back down properly. Might as well take advantage of having that boot out of the way though and grease this drive shaft up here. But that's why daily maintenance will help you find things on your machine that you may not find otherwise. Okay, we're at 19 pounds on this side. At the back of the tractor, I can't even check the air pressure in the rear wheels because these are loaded tires. These are what is known as loaded tires. They have rim guard in them, which is beet juice. Beet juice is 11 pounds per gallon, roughly. So it really helps with stability on a small tractor like this that's doing loader work. What I have to do is either pull forward and get this valve stem to the top, or back up and get the valve stem to the top, so that I can check the air pressure in the tire. But before I do that, I want to check, the tractor's been setting for about an hour, and I want to check the hydraulic fluid level again before I start it up and have to wait another hour before I can check and see where it's actually at. So let's go ahead and do that next. Now with the 3-point arms out of the way, I can more easily get to the dipstick. Yeah, still looks like we're about a quart low. Yep, just a quart low. So I'll make sure I get another quart and add to it tomorrow before we return the tractor. We're at 10 pounds on the back. $15. Okay, that's 22 pounds. Perfect. Turns out there's a thumb screw on here. This is removable so that you can grease this. So it must have just came loose on him. That's awesome that they did this. So let's get a couple pumps of grease in there. Okay. Now with a couple pumps of grease in there, we'll loosen this up, get it in its place. She's got a hole in it. That's too bad. Huh. Still gonna do its job better than not having one at all. So. Okay, it feels like it's on there good. Okay, with all the work Ken asked us to do for this tractor, we're done. And with that, I'm done with green. I'll stick with TYM, thank you. Thanks so much for watching our video and hanging with us and enjoying some of my quirkiness. And I hope you learned a little something. Please like and comment. If you comment, I'd like to know if you liked the video, if you don't like the video, what you did like, what you didn't like. And just try to build a community here. And this YouTube thing is an uphill challenge, and I'm up for it. So I really appreciate my viewers, and we'll talk to you on the next one.